stand still.
Okay. Are you following me?
I am.
Oh, you are turning when I'm moving.
I'm
That's
telling you,
awesome.
keeping an eye on you. Yeah, I got to admit, these placing models actually really impress me.
Yeah, they did me too. I'm watching the. Ah, there you are. Nice. Let's let's run this way. I want to show you this awesome waterfall.
Okay.
Like you
Come
can
on, slow
see it up.
coach.
Oh, you're running faster than me.
Yeah, you got to press shift, mate.
Oh, there's a run.
There is a
Oh,
run. Super speed.
super speed. It looks so like are you what quality are
I'm
you running through graphics wise?
I'm only on good at the moment because that's what
Okay, I
like.
think I am too, but you see this tree right here? Like look how thick the foliage is when you run through it.
I know it's proper
It
thick
feels like you
trees.
really are walking through a real tree.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. And the strong winds blowing the
The
foliage around down
grass,
below. Yeah, or the weeds.
the water looks good for not being optimized.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. That's the key. People got to realize this is so far from optimized at the moment. This isn't even
Oh
alpha
yeah.
yet. This is just the very first little stress test.
It
And yet
does look good, doesn't it?
look at that waterfall. I mean,
Yeah.
for a game that's almost 3 years out, or 2.5 years out, and this is where they're at already without all the passes. I mean, I know they're using Unity stuff, which obviously helps big time, but I'm playing another game, as I said before, in Unity, and it doesn't look nearly as good as this. Not even close.
Like if you come over here on this like where I'm standing on this rock, like I'm looking over the waterfall at the moment and their water is like misting in the air. It
Yeah,
looks really good.
miss the splashing. And as I say, I got obviously a little bit of hitching, but for the most part, it's actually surprisingly smooth, considering it's so unoptimized. If I run in a straight line, I get very little lag. It's only when I start turning my head around where it starts to hiccup.
My son's talking me looking at the water. Like yeah, for a game that is so early, it does look so good. So good. Like like you said, it this what are they projecting this game to be? It's they're projecting it end of 2017 or so. That's
Yeah,
2 years or so.
yeah. So still a long time to go, but
Yeah. And well, like obviously we were talking about it on the last podcast about indie MMOs. I honestly feel that the indie genre is going to be the next big thing. Like how MOBAs were it was someone took a strategy game Warcraft and made a mod out of it and it became this huge thing.
yeah,
I think AAA MMOs are gonna kind of go the way of the dodo, and that indie MMOs where people go because obviously people are getting more and more technically sophisticated to do this stuff. Engines like Unity, which are pretty much open to everyone for like I think to get Unity, what is it like $2,000 or something like that to get full
yes,
usage?
pretty
That's
affordable.
nothing. Like I could afford that. You
I
know what
mean,
I mean? Like an average user can afford that.
and I know people have been saying, "Oh, what's Unity?" Because of the program they do, it's not going to be able to do MMOs or whatever. A lot of people have their doubts on that. And I don't know enough about coding to think they're right or wrong. But I played Project Gorgon, and while it's not nearly as pretty, it runs smooth. And I know it's not got huge amounts of people playing yet, but you had over 1,500 backers on the last Kickstarter, so they all got access to the game. So you've got 1,500 people popping in and out, and that game runs smooth as you like. So I'm sure
Sure.
there's a will, there's a way. Sure, it might involve a lot of custom coding going on, but it just gives you a great baseline to work from. And one of their
Oh yeah.
coders was actually trying to explain on a few videos ago, explaining the difference and the sort of challenge involved. But he said, it's
I'm actually
doable, and I'll trust him. I mean, at the end of the day, if they know enough about, if they think it's not going to work, they just wouldn't do it.
right.
And keep
If
in
you look
mind, they only want like 5,000 people as their goal at the moment. Obviously, they want more people than that, but 5,000 people is their goal. You imagine the split between 2 servers, how many would actually be on at a time?
more than what ESO can get in their servers now.
Yeah, but it's not like they're trying to get the million people that WoW or the millions that WoW has or anything. So it's not. So I think you're right. I think indie's going to be the way to go, and you'll get lots of games with a healthy 20,000 population, 15,000 people, 25 there, rather than games because, as I say, that's what the beauty of indie is, that they're going to go for specific markets rather than AAA games that spend so much money they've got no choice but to try and get as many people in as possible and make a rather beige kind of game.
Right. What reminded me of is it's a it's an anime called Sword Art Online. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
No.
It's pretty good. It's about MMOs and virtual reality, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then people get stuck in the game. It's neat. But the main thing what really got off at the very end was I just had to tweet out so people could come out and see us. Was when they finally unlocked the project, the software, like at the end when they beat the game that they couldn't get out of, and they came back in. The developer gave them the software, saying it's insanely simple, this MMO software, and anyone can make any game they want. And essentially, they released it for free, and all these people started setting up their own game worlds and stuff like that. So they were smaller games, but people could jump in and out of them using like the same character. I know that technology is not here now, but it kind of reminds me of the MMO industry is so huge right now because of what World of Warcraft did for our industry.
Yeah.
Now, you could argue World of Warcraft did a lot of things bad for the industry too, such as the removal of a lot of stuff that, you and I are looking for.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, WoW both destroyed and made the industry at the same
Yeah.
time. It rebuilt
Double-edged sword.
Yeah, so it brought in a lot because EQ1 for me or Dark Age for you, great games, but the number of the people actually playing was nothing in comparison.
Right.
To what you
A
got
game
now.
that had what wow. A game that had what DOAC or EQ had at the beginning would have been like, this is fail, it's free to play within a month.
Yeah, they'd just be long gone.
Yeah. But see, I'm seeing a lot of MMO companies now are going, why bother making MMOs? It's so much work. And you can't grab that WoW audience, and the shareholders are like, if you can't get 10 million people, you're not even worth it. Go free to play, and it's just cheaper to make free to play MOBA games and hope for the best
And make a lot more money.
Yeah, but we don't want that as MMO gamers. I'm thinking that's what's really going to happen is a lot more people are going to simply go, you know what, let's make our own MMOs, and these indies are going to come up and be very niche crowd things going, oh, this is what you want? All right, well, we got 10,000 players. Well, who cares? Because even in World of Warcraft with 10 million players, they have a population cap. You don't see more than a couple thousand players.
Exactly. And, it's just, oh, hello, a ladder. Can I go up the ladder? Oh, I can go up the ladder. Sweet. I'm on top of a building with a hay roof.
Face is here, and she has input. Face! Oh. Yeah. She's been watching us.
Yeah, my input is that I actually dislike where everything is heading, and I don't like indie games. I think that the MMOs can come back if people stop wanting everything right now as easy as can be.
Well,
that is the problem.
That's the problem with people, and people never change.
And I think that's the problem, but I think, funny enough, I think Face is kind of right as well, because I think indie and MMOs will have their time, and that's going to remind the big leagues what a game can be, and eventually one of these indies is going to hit the big time, and a AAA game's going to have the balls to say, you know what, you're right, let's go with a game that's not for everyone, but it's a great group and it's just a great game. And I think eventually
with
AAA
the resources.
Will do it. Yeah, so I think
an
indie will have to show them the way. Yeah, an indie will have to show the way.
If you think about it, you guys are both right. What did World of Warcraft do? Took the already niche popular MMOs. Let's face it, people spent so much time in EverQuest. Like, I talked to people when I was in school before Warcraft came out. about how great these games were, but it was still a very niche crowd. You know, a game with 200,000 players was a World of Warcraft, essentially. But what Warcraft did was took something that was essentially an indie game, at least by our modern standards, and improved upon it, and they did fantastic up until, you know, recently. I do agree. I think what's going to happen is mainstream MMOs are going to start falling by the wayside because all people want are free to play this, blah, 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 and that's what developers are giving us. But we hate that crap.
Hate it so much.
It is terrible. But what's going to happen is it's going to take the MMO, the AAA industry needs to essentially die. The free-to-play needs to die by people going, we're tired of your crap, we're not going to play it anymore. The AAA industry will die and move on. The indies will pick it back up because they don't care about having 10 million players, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then what's going to happen is then the indies will have all this, and then a AAA industry will go, wow, there's no more AAA MMOs out there, but look how well these indies are doing. If we threw our money back behind it and did what they're doing, we'll be able to, you know, essentially resurrect from the ashes.
Yeah.
But right now, the whole industry is too much free to play. I want it now.
I'll just say one more thing.
Oh,
I'm so sorry, Asteldian. I'll say one more thing and then I'll leave. I think that more games, honestly, need to be like Final Fantasy XIV. About how Yoshi P is directing his game, seeing his game, his vision, everything that he wants. He straight out said, I will shut this game down before I go free to play. He really pays attention to his fans. He listens to what they want. He tries to follow through with things that the fans say that are incorrect. Yeah, a few times he's been like, I'm not changing it, learn to play better.
Yeah.
And even then, I still respect his decision.
Mm-hmm.
But he still is, his game is still, you still have to pay for it, and the game is fantastic. People just need to, the whole free-to-play thing needs to just die, because it's making games worse.
I agree with that, in that Yoshi is actually a guy who stands to his principles, and that's great. The only problem is, ultimately, at its foundation, Final Fantasy XIV is still designed with the modern gamer in mind, except obviously the free-to-play bullcrap. But it's designed as that sort of, you pick up, drop down, the whole quest hubbing. It is a modern MMO down to the core.
Yeah.
Very well done, of course. Probably one of the most best done ones out there. But, you know, and I'm glad that Yoshi stands by what he believes in. But at its core, the game was designed a certain way. So if someone like him designed a game that, you know, an old school MMO, that's, I think, would be amazing, because that's what you'd really hit. A guy like him saying, you know, screw you, I've got however many people, I'm happy.
Exactly. And as Thais was saying, I'm going to piggyback off of that. Like, he does take, what I love about him is he does take player feedback, but then he takes it and goes, I'm not going to do that because you don't know what you want. You may say you want this, but I know you don't want this. Like, that's the problem with a lot of MMO gamers nowadays, especially modern MMO gamers. They don't know what they want. It's like, oh, I want 100% sandbox. I want 100% sandbox. And not saying anything wrong against sandboxes, but, you know, that's what the modern call is right now. I want 100. Pete, you get thrown into a sandbox, they don't know what to do. Why don't you give me content? Well, you said you wanted a sandbox. Here's a sandbox. Oh, well, that's not what I meant, you know? Like, and I've seen Yoshi do this where he's taken you know, he's like, people will say, I want this change. He goes, I agree it needs change, but I'm not doing it that way, because that's not the way that I think I see it.
The best choice.
Exactly. Best choice. And that's what I like. And even with the free-to-play, like, he went over to Korea. Like, they released a South Korean server, but he kept the subscription model. And
yeah, awesome.
Oh yeah, especially when everyone's like, your game's never going to go anywhere in South Korea, because South Korea is essentially the free-to-play heaven. They're like, you just need to remake it into a free-to-play game with, you know, just redo your business model. And he's like, no, if they don't want to play, they don't have to play. And actually, apparently, it's one of the highest games in their internet cafes. People are paying. And I love that. Are you looking at some of these houses, Estelle? Like, I'm looking at the architecture.
I'm on the roof of a house right now, looking across the land.
I'm staring at one of these, and it looks so good. I mean, please, look at this. Look at this. I'm trying to show her. Look at.
Sorry,
oh, don't kick the baby now.
I know, I kicked the chair.
Oh, look at the detail in this house. Like,
now, is it actually more beneficial to put this kind of minute details in a game this early.
This
It
is
seems kind of...
well, this is not even that good. There's a lot of stuff. Like if anyone's watching, they'll see like there is a lot of clipping issues, but
True.
this is very early passing. It can only get better from here.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like the grain in the wood.
Well, that's just a texture.
Yeah, I mean, this is
It's really neat.
it does look beautiful, but yeah, I mean, in reality, minimum time's been spent on the actual details of it yet, because they're going to be doing that later on. So while it looks impressive, as you say, Theis, it's not worth them spending the time to make it so minutely detailed now. So actually, what you're seeing is kind of like a default package. So they haven't even done the hundreds of art passes they need to do, but this is just the baseline, as it were.
It's not very hard to throw a texture on something. Like if you look at this rock, they literally got a texture, which is essentially just a square block of color, and then they pasted over this object.
I totally get that, but there are still some games who don't even look that good.
Oh, I know. When I logged in here, do you know what my first thought was? Skyrim.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you look at the mountainside, like this is as good in almost, well, I should say there is some issues that need cleaned up, but this is almost as good graphically as Skyrim was. Vanilla Skyrim, mind you.
Yeah.
Keep in mind that we're only on good. We're not even on the best version of their graphics, because they haven't. They haven't done enough passes yet. So if you go on the excellent, you start seeing white grains because it's not actually been optimized yet. But this is average basically. This is the middle graphic choice.
Is that meant to be dust or fireflies?
It's either fireflies or embers from a light post. But even so, it still looks really good.
Oh, yeah. Not dismissing that at all.
I have a floating barrel.
We're looking at the lampposts.
I've got a floating barrel here.
Nice.
I have found an item that's misplaced.
Yeah, for a very, very early starting, it looks really, really good. And as you said, yes, it is just it's very early. This is pre-alpha, guys. Anyone who's watching this afterwards or us live right now, this is all pre-alpha footage. Like, there's not even combat in it yet. They're adding that in, I guess, what is it, next month? They're going to start doing combat tests?
Basic combat will be next month.
Nice. Yeah, this is all from today's stress test. I actually believe this is one of the first times that backers and supporters have been able to actually log into the game. Am I correct?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, this is the first that was open to anyone who was backing their project. So, like, I mean, it like to get into this, like, it doesn't seem like. Oh, I'm actually watching some birds fly through the air right now.
I was really impressed when I saw that near the lake.
Yeah, I'm by. Oh, I must be by that lake too, because there's like a watchtower kind of deal. Yeah. A little pond. Yeah, no, it's one of those things where, I don't know, like, for my first one, it was like what, $40, whatever, to get in, right?
Yeah.
For the most recent pre-order, and let's be honest, $40.
Well,
I spent.
That's a key thing I want to mention, actually, funny enough. It's $40 for the entry level, and that gets you the game when it finally comes out, and obviously the test phasing. Now, I mean, people can debate whether or not the game will ever come out, or it's going to fail, blah, blah, blah. And that's a risk you take and you back early. But in terms of value for money, because people were saying, oh my God, it's ridiculous. They've got a developer one for $4,000 or $10,000. This is silly. They're trying to scrimp money off you. You've got to keep in mind, the $40 is for the base package for people who are like, this game looks interesting. I'd like it to come out. I'm going to give you support. And what I get in return, if it pays off, is the game. So I get my value for money. That's what the entry level is, just like most Kickstarter game type things. That's your thing. Value for money, you go for the basic one. All the other ones, which you might think of ridiculous costs or huge jumps for a bit of cloth map or whatever it is, they are there specifically for those who are truly passionate. Like, I love this game, I really want to help all I can. Here's the $40 for the game, and here's another $200, and I'll get some fluff for it. But I don't really care. I just want an excuse to give you more money and to help.
For the people with insane expendable incomes.
Yeah.
Like, I've known people in free-to-play games who, like, trust fund kitty kind of people. I'm sorry if that's offensive to anyone, but there are quite a few people like that who are just independently wealthy, whether it's from granddad owning something, and that in some free-to-play games spend thousands of dollars a month just buy, and if you have the money to throw around, some people are like, a lot of that could also be perspective buyers, investors, sort of like maybe a personal investor. Because I know some games that been doing these that have those really really high ones. Like I think like $10,000 was the game I saw once. They're like, listen, if you want to donate this much, call us. Because at that point you're like buying stock in the game. Like they offer you more than just the game. You're like literally going, if you're throwing down $10,000, we can at least offer you a couple percent of stock in the game.
Yeah, I mean,
you know?
this game's got the $10,000. You get, I think it's the producer one or whatever. So you get to sit in on their proper team meetings and all sorts. So and you know, might even be able to influence some of the decisions. So, but I mean, as I say, people are like, oh, this is ridiculous. Who's going to pay that? If that's what you're thinking, then it's clearly not for you. That's not what these ridiculous costs are. That those A, have plenty of money to throw around, or B, just really, really, really love an idea of a game. For everyone else, just put your $40. If you're interested in the game, you like the idea of what it sounds like, just put down your $40 because your investment ends up being you get the game when it comes out. Worst case, I guess the game never comes out, but it's $40, and you know there's no guarantee you'll succeed if it comes out, but you know it's $40, and you're helping improve the chance of it coming. Because I mean, you know, none of their money is actually paying their salary or anything, because they're all full-time workers. So the money is literally just for helping do things for either community events, because they want to go to some convention type things and all sorts. But you know, $40 in this day and age, usually a game costs you $60. So if you wait till this game comes out, it may well cost you $60 by then. So not only is value for money paying $40 to get in the testing now, you may also find you $20 discount compared to the real price.
And plus, come on, PC gamers. We all know we bought games. Heck, any PC gamer who bought Arkham Knight for $60 just threw that money out the window, because we all know that game didn't work on PC, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You just threw that money away. So it is what if you're passionate for the MMO industry, and the game looks like it could be interest of you, absolutely back it up, man. Because like I said, $40. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's not like $4. It's a little bit of a gaming investment, but I mean,
don't go without food for the sake of it. But
yeah,
you know,
save up a bit if it's a game that interests you. If it, you know, if it doesn't, these guys are developing this game anyway. Like that's what they're, you know, like they've done this much with like zero money.
Yeah,
like even their Indiegogo campaign, how much money did their Indiegogo like get? It wasn't a lot.
It was literally opened up and its only goal was to raise about 5,000, and that was just to help cover up some of the lawyer expenses and stuff they'd had so far.
Yeah,
so yeah,
and
it's
I
all
think
out
some
of pocket.
licensing fee as well for like Unity and things of that nature for like the different engine software. There were some expenses there, but otherwise, it's not like it's not like Star Citizen that wanted like $250,000 and ended up getting huge amounts. But it was literally their Indiegogo was one of the smallest ones I've ever seen. They just wanted enough to
they didn't even
cover the software.
They didn't even advertise it or anything. It was just done because of the supporters they already had said, look, we'd love to have a way of giving you some cash to help out. And they did, because I would say, unlike a lot of sort of Kickstarter games, it wasn't like we're trying to raise money so that you can pay us all our salaries for a game we haven't produced yet. You know, there's none of that going on. They all got full-time jobs and they're working, and this is what they do in their spare time essentially. And so any money you're giving is going towards the game rather than giving it to some fat sum of money so they can go and party. So for me, it's a no-brainer to put some money down for me and the wife, because I'm desperate for an old-school MMO. I mean, you know, I'm not saying this game's like, oh wow, everything about it sounds amazing, you should totally get it. There's actually quite a lot of features in it I think I don't actually like, that I've heard about. I mean, you know, it's early days, so it's always hard to tell, but there's some things I'm thinking, I'm not so keen on the sound of that and that. But at the end of the day, the core vision of the game, I am all up for. So I'll give the other stuff a chance, and I'm willing to put money down. Go, if I don't like it, I don't like it. So be it. But so I'm not like some diehard fan.
Money.
Yeah, I'm not some diehard fan about telling you that, oh, everything about this is going to be amazing. It's going to be the best game in the world. I already know there's going to be some features I definitely won't like in the game. They're just not necessarily deal breakers. You know, when it comes down to it, for me, I want a game where it's group orientated. I don't really want quest hubs anymore. I'm tired of running from A to B to A to B all the time. And you know, so just a more good old-fashioned EverQuest 1 sort of game. So that's what they've got. The other features they put on, some I like, some I'm not so keen on. That's fine. You're not going to like every feature in MMO.
And who knows? You may on paper, you may think, oh, I don't like it, but when you get in there,
exactly, when you see it,
you may go, wow,
I may change my mind. But you know,
better than I thought.
But yeah, so there's things I'm not keen on. So it's not a case of me just putting on the old blinkers and going, this game is everything, you should buy it. You know, read up about it, see what you think about it. If it sounds of interest to you, you know, put a gamble, put $40 down.
Absolutely. And as you can see, at least at this point, this is something that I wanted to point out for people who are kind of on the fence, especially about, Kickstarter stuff. Because let's face it, the Kickstarter, the indie MMO kind of stuff, it's still new, right?
Yeah.
Like, we've had half a dozen now, like that were really big. I'm trying to think. Obviously, the one that comes to mind, Star Citizen, which was just amazing in terms of the amount of money and stuff that they had.
On the
Um,
flip side, you had Pathfinder, which from what I hear isn't
is not
as
doing so well.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it is a blind gamble at the end of the day if you're putting money down. But
Hmm.
let's say if you're putting down the $40 baseline, say you're getting a game for a pretty bargain price, you're getting a chance to get in on test, and we're talking actual testing here. We were on
Yeah,
tonight
well,
proper stress testing, not just hey look this is a
yeah.
game we're killing everything and playing as normal. No, this is a stress test. You were there. The developers came into our TeamSpeak channel and talked to us and asked us to do this, that, and the other, and just sort of hung out and chatted as well. So you actually get time to get involved with the devs themselves, which is a nice touch.
Oh yeah, no, that was definitely you'll actually get to rub shoulders. And this is the thing that I wanted to touch on with this. Like, yeah, we've had a lot of Kickstarters and stuff for indie MMOs, and but we haven't seen any release. Actually, I should take that back because I think Elite Dangerous isn't that an indie that's actually released.
Yeah,
I
I think so.
So we're actually starting to see some of that fruit. And in the case of Pathfinder, it's still going, but let's face it. How many people have been waiting for what was it, Project Titan from Blizzard, who is a AAA industry, and they shut that down?
Yeah,
Games do fail, right? Even being indie doesn't mean one thing or the other. Blizzard was working on it for what, like 4 years, spent all that money, and they said, you know what, screw it, and canceled the project. Like, it's not unheard of. It's just indies are kind of like, are people really working on this? Or, I know there was some issues, like legal issues, a few months back with some Kickstarter campaign. I think it was for a card game where some guy was like, "Yeah, this is what I'm doing," and then took the money and ran.
yeah,
But here's the thing, guys. Like, and you're watching it now. There is something. It's not just an idea that, oh yeah, this is what we're playing. It's just an idea. Like, Asteldian, you and I are in the game right now,
yeah. We are
just running
actually
around the
running
world.
around, and those 20, 30 people, well, 30 or 40 people around earlier looking around, um,
Yeah,
discovering some issues with the login and stuff, and giving feedback. So the guys had stuff to work on. Yeah, I mean, this is 16 months in. You got to keep in mind they haven't done a Kickstarter. They've gone pretty much straight from just working on it for 16 months. They've got to the point where they're almost hitting alpha, and they're like, right, here's our pre-order store. So they've got this far without any money at all. So whether you put the money in or not, they're going to keep on going. And I'd say I can't guarantee this game's going to come out and be good because you can never predict that. But I would be 90% sure a game will come out.
yeah,
These guys have done 16 months so far, and they're going to keep on going. In fact, anything the pre-order makes it a little easier for them. So they're happy. They've got a deadline. They've got plans to get there. So it will reach there. Whether or not it ends up being good for people, I don't know. But if you put $40 down, I'm fairly confident you will at least have a game you can play. You might go, this is crap, and leave. I can't
but how
promise you
many
anything other than that.
how
But we,
many modern MMOs have
yeah,
you said the same thing
yeah,
about?
I could list off
That are
every game I
AAA?
played in the last decade. A lot of them have come out and go, oh, this is crap. That's the risk you play with any buy a pre-order
Well,
game, or even you
I
buy a
have a
game if you think it's
collector.
good.
I have a collector's edition of Warhammer Online upstairs, which
Yeah,
is worthless
yeah,
because they
exactly.
literally shut it down.
Yeah, so kind of, but I'd be confident that a game will come out at the end of this. So,
Oh yeah, yeah, and it is definitely gorgeous for
and
how early it is.
yeah, and the guys keep you in touch. So if people are interested in the game, if you go to the Saga of Lucimia website or the YouTube page, they've got every week the producer himself does a video, and on the Mondays they do a mastery, so they talk about the skill lines and the classes. So every single week, and Wednesdays I think is a music one. So these guys are keeping you in touch, and they've been doing it for quite a few months now, where they keep you updated to everything they're doing. So you don't feel like you've put money down and then you're left in the cold going, well, what's happening now? Are you doing anything?
Yeah,
These guys keep you in the loop with everything, which is the communication they've done has been the best of all the games I've kickstarted or put money towards. I mean, Pantheon, I know they've got a big update coming out this month or something, but ultimately, and I know it was a tactic they've gone with, decided to, rather than sharing everything, they've gone sort of inside and just doing things to give a big surprise in September. But I've kind of lost like, well, where are you guys? Or is this actually really ever going to happen? Kind of like EQ Next kind of thing. It's kind
Yeah,
of off the
right.
radar. You hear of it, but you wonder if it's going to be a reality. And as I say, Pantheon's got an update coming out this month, so maybe it'll all be well. But these guys are just, they make an effort. They're always on the forums, and they're always putting their videos out. So yeah, you feel you can keep an eye on what's happening. And of course, next year they hope to open these servers up permanently. But for the next few months, these sort of weekends are popping in, helping them stress and figure out login issues and all sorts of other weird problems. Usual teething issues that early sites get, but good 2 years of more testing, and we'll see what comes out at the end.
Absolutely, and we'll be there, and that's one of the best parts about of with these indies is because they don't have the backing of publishers to hire. Like a lot of the stuff that you're seeing now, you never see in AAA industry because they don't show this. They don't want people to see this stuff. But then again, they can hire some random college kid to be a tester and do what we're doing now, right?
Yeah.
But they also don't care. The community guys, these guys will sit and talk with you, and you can, like, if you get on the forums, like, and you ask questions, you will get a developer answer.
And if they don't answer it there, it's because they saved the question for one of their videos and they'll answer it on their actual stream.
Yeah.
Which one of mine was a few weeks ago. So yeah, they pay attention.
They do.
But yes, it's nice because I say, if nothing else, you pay just if you're curious about seeing how a game really gets made from the beginning or rather early stages through, then you might even find it worthwhile putting $40 down just to get access to see the hard work that goes in. Like, as I say, we were literally just for part of the stress is just logging in, everyone log out, get one person at a time down list to log in to see where a problem was occurring. It may sound like tedious stuff, but we were having fun on TeamSpeak while it was going on. But you get to see really what goes into it.
So
So
that's
it's
another thing.
quite fascinating.
You were just mentioned about the TeamSpeak. Like, we had the developers in our Dungeon Crawler Network TeamSpeak with us, chatting with the community, telling us, okay, what are you guys seeing? Kind of like we were interacting, we were testing their game, giving them feedback, and they were in chat with us, talking with us, going, oh, that's awesome. Hold on, can you do this? And that was really, really exciting.
And when the servers went down, they just sat there and just chatted casually with us about other games they played or just stories of
I think
various
we were
things.
talking about making meat at one point, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah, just rather waiting. So it wasn't like, right, we're shutting the servers down, and then they vanish and then come back half an hour later. Obviously, the guys who need to do all the coding and play the server side, they were obviously way too busy to be hanging around because this is all about them and all the work they're going to have to do. But the others, the ones who sort of deal with the combat, and obviously Renfail himself, who's the producer, he was just able to chill out with us and talk. Obviously, he had to go communicate with his coders, but so while it was down, we're still talking with them. And oh, look at that, Renovoid's come on.
Now, I wanted you to highlight something for people because this is something that amazed me, and I don't know if you're at a point. I think on the stream I am, but I'm a couple minutes behind. Run through some foliage to show people how well they did these these trees. I was telling you when I first hopped in, I'm like, dude, when you run through a tree, it's not like other games. Like, I literally couldn't. I felt like I got lost when I was walking through this pine tree. Like, I can't find my way out of this foliage.
It's not a 2D tree sort of thing, like a flat tree you look at and go past it, and it's there. You actually go through.
Yeah, you're like surrounded. You turn, like, I'm right now in the middle of a tree, and I'm looking all the way around, and all I see is pine needles all around me.
Yeah, I'm standing in a bush with the trees nearby, and like I'm walking through the beginning part of Narnia.
Yeah, exactly. That amazes me. I've not seen that in an MMO at all, actually, to be 100% honest. I've not seen that in any MMO. Skyrim did pretty good, but even their trees, they specifically, and maybe this might change when they release Falkreath, because I'd be curious how they're going to do that. But, like, none of their trees really have bushes down low. Like, the foliage does not feel as good as this. The amount of grass blowing in the wind is just amazing to look at.
Yeah. And I got to say, I know obviously at this point there's only about 10 people on or whatever, but it might not look it, but the performance is surprisingly smooth for such an early time. I get the occasional hitching with the camera change, but when I'm running straight on, it's pretty much a smooth run. which I was surprised at because when I played Vanguard back in the day in their beta and when the game came out, hitching was a constant thing.
Yeah, no, it's really good for how, and you got to remember, guys, super pre-alpha. It's only going to get better from here.
Yeah, we're talking so early there isn't even combat stuff in it. You know, it's proper.
Yeah, yeah.
I still love that waterfall.
Oh, I know. That's one of the first things I saw when I came into the game was that waterfall, and my first. It's sort of like when you popped out in Skyrim, when you popped out of the sewer, and the first thing you saw was Bleak Rock Barrows, and you're just like, dude, I gotta go to that. That was my first thought when I saw the waterfall. I was like, dude, can I run to that?
Yeah.
Like,
you can run to it, you can climb up it. I can't because I'm clumsy and stupid, but people were climbing it earlier.
I was watching people jump the rocks. It was pretty amazing, and like I'm right now on top of, just looking at some of the textures, like I'm on top of a roof. I'm looking at these wood textures and they are like really good. And I know it's just a texture, and I know textures aren't really hard to do. It's just, it's still amazing to see in my eyes. Like I'm looking at this, like the amount of graphic work that they've done. This, I think after a couple passes, will probably be one of the best looking realistic MMOs out there. Like I know Final Fantasy 14 does a really good job. They like pride themselves on their graphics. It looks really, really good. ESO does really, really good, especially with their God rays. Oh, those lights.
Yeah.
But it really does look really good. Like I'm standing here on a field watching these weeds brushing in the wind, and it looks good. Like it just looks really good.
Well, I tell you one thing I do look forward to seeing when it's put in is the because one of the devs is I can't even think of what, computational astronomer. And
yeah,
so I saw the video on that. So there's literally going to be actual proper constellations and stuff in the stars, and to the point where if you're looking for directions, you could actually use the stars to work out where you're going, sort of thing. Oh, I must be facing north. I must be facing south, or something. So I look forward to seeing that stuff get added in.
I look forward to seeing that and then being utterly confused.
Yeah,
while trying.
I have no clue about our own constellation, so I'd never be able to do it. But just the idea that that's the sort of thing they're thinking about putting in, because they've got the guy with the expertise to be able to do that and say, well, this is what I do for my job. You know, it's his day job. So he's very excited and looking forward to putting that into the game. So
Absolutely. That's awesome. That just really excites me. I don't know.
Well, it's little things like that where you know that majority of people playing would have no idea, and then someone would like, you know, those stars there are actually, and like, really? It's like, yeah,
they actually,
like, no way.
They're not just a random texture that are put up there to fill the sky. Really?
Yeah, you're sitting there going, I don't know where I'm going. It's like, well, if you look up, can you see where the Big Dipper is? From there, you'll be facing. Oh, really? That's how you know it's east. Really? So you know, just some crazy idea like that. It's like pretty phenomenal. Getting lost and waiting till nighttime so you can find your way around.
Yeah, and then now I'm kind of curious. They were talking about you might know this more than I do, and I really should have looked that up. Are they doing something with day-night, and like, are they doing day-night cycles? Are they doing weather cycles? Like, have they talked about that at all?
Yes, there will be day-night cycles, and they're not sure how they're going to do it because obviously they can't. They said, you know, they can't do. Yeah, based on the normal 24-hour day, for the obvious reason that if you're someone who logs in after work each day, you only ever see night time. So obviously it's going to have different times. But yeah, so they're playing on with that. And I believe weather is supposed to be, I could be imagining things, but I'm sure they were saying that the weather, you know, is significant enough that if you're somewhere cold, you're going to have to make sure your wagon's got the kind of gear on there that can keep you warm with your fires and stuff, because otherwise you're going to start struggling in the freezing cold.
See, I would love to see something like that where a game took weather effects that were, I don't want to say random, because obviously weather's not random. If you think about it, you're not going to get a blizzard in the Sahara, right?
Yeah.
But, like, I would like to see there be weather patterns that affect gameplay going, oh, it's a blizzard, we need to be, you know, bundled up, or I'm a fire mage, but it's a torrential downpour. Now all my spells just fizzle.
Well, I mean, they're going back to the old-fashioned things like, you know, it's dark. What, do you have a torch on you? Otherwise, you know, you literally cannot see much, and changing your gamma's not going to be a way of cheating your way out of it. If it's dark, you
Yeah.
need a torch with you because you can't see, or someone can cast light, which of course without magic for the early parts, unless you've got a relic that casts light. Who'd have thought the idea of getting a weapon that has light on it? You're like, oh my god, I've got a weapon that casts light. How awesome, you know?
See, that amazes me though, because I've intentionally in Skyrim and stuff like that put in mods to make it darker that required me to use a torch in caves because I like that idea of the adventure of we're going in that cave, well, we're going to need light, whip out a torch. I mean, how unrealistic is it that you walk into a cave and have just a like there's just dim light? It's like that just doesn't happen. If you've
Yeah.
ever been in a real cave, you know it's pitch dark.
Yeah, humans in EverQuest 1 had that. It was just absolutely, you're blind. You're like, I cannot see anything. And then you had to kill specific mobs so you could steal their eyes because their eyes had a glow on them like a bugworm type thing. And you'd use that just so you could see.
That's awesome. That is definitely awesome. Wow.
But yeah, so I imagine there will be weather effects because, as I say, part of having a caravan of your group going from A to B is you need a lot of prep work. You need to make sure you've got your supplies, have your crafters, mending the wheels, make sure the wagon's going to last the journey. And so you usually have someone who's quite crafty with you so you can keep it going. And you'll need the various things, food, drinks, as the armor repair supplies. Because you can't just pop back to town whenever you fancy it because there's no quick journey. You can't go, oh, I'm back in town, I'm going to repair, and then off we go again. You need to be, it's very much, as I say, it's old school MMO with also very much a mix of good old pen and paper Dungeons and Dragons thrown in there. You go off on a journey in a campaign, you'll be gone from the town for quite some time, you're sorting this stuff out. So yes, you need to make sure you've got geared for the right occasion, got rope for climbing. So if you go high in these mountains, you'll need rope. You'll have a guy with a climb skill. You've got a guy in plate mail, he's too heavy to climb, so you need others to help get him up there with the rope and stuff. So, there's a lot of stuff you could end up finding yourself gone on an adventure. Think, we didn't bring any rope, did we? Which is rule one of an adventurer. Bring some rope. Always
Bring
have
some rope.
You
Come
never
on,
know
didn't
when
you ever
need it.
read Lord of the Rings?
Always
I
a
knew I
time
should
for
have brought rope.
Yeah.
See, I like that, and I know that's gonna turn some. This is not a modern gamer game where it's quick get in, get out, and I know that's gonna turn some people off. But you know what? Even the developers are like, that's not the game we want. And to be honest, there are so many games out there right now that have that quick get in, get out kind of thing.
Yeah, you don't need another one.
No, like this is something which I'm excited about. Of calling up Asteldian. Well, not calling him up because that the overseas rates are insane, but maybe Skyping him and going, hey, let's set aside 4 hours. We're going to go on an adventure party, right? Like, you bring your wife, I bring mine. We got 4 hours.
That's a different kind of party, that is.
Maybe that is. Then we banish the women to the back of the kitchen with the kettles to make us food while you and I are sitting out there smoking pipes. And then when they're done, they'll come load up the carts, and then we'll get going. I'm glad neither one of them are in the room and they kill.
But yeah, I mean, you got in mind, some of the adventures that they're saying, it might take you 3 sessions just to get to the dungeon you're heading for. Because, the big lands you're going to travel through and you're going to get attacked on the way because mobs don't stand around and wait for you. If you've got a wagon load of stuff, there'll be mobs in the zone who actually have their own aggro radius. So if they know you've got you're hauling fat loot, they're going to come and try and take it from you. And so you can't just go, right, we'll just walk safely from A to B. That ain't going to happen. So just to get to where you're going.
They tell you at like Yellowstone, don't feed the bears. Make sure all your food is locked away because the bears will come.
Yeah, exactly. So you come out, you're going to get attacked. So you might take ages to get to the place, and you get there, and then obviously the dungeons are like old school one. So it's not a case of you run from A to B, because I know Renfell said the dungeon's going to be 3 months long, but you can't have a dungeon 3 months long. It's impossible. It's like you've got to remember, it's like the old ways. You used to go into a dungeon, you'd camp at the entrance because you were too weak to go too deep in, because you need to be an entrance. You need to get to the zone line. Because mobs don't have a tether, so they will chase you till you're dead, unless you can get to a zone line or some guards. So in good old EQ, you used to sit around in a camp by a zone line, pull to that area, and then if things went wrong, you quickly nipped into out the zone line, and then back in again. Then as you got a bit better and braver, you'd go deeper in, set up a new campsite, and you'd be fighting there, getting better, getting new gear. And obviously, if things went wrong there, you've got a longer journey back to the zone. And you'd pull more mobs, so it becomes very dangerous. If you die, you leave all your loot, so you've got to bring your spare loot from the wagons, come in, and then try and get back to your bodies to get your loot back, because corpse runs are back. Yeah, they're a thing, and I know people hate that, but it's very much the old mentality of you work hard as a group, and you just you live in the world together. and I miss that.
You've what?
Oh, we're talking about my son at the moment. No, he's perfectly fine.
As long as you're sure.
I promise he's fine. He might take an extra few months to roll over, but he's fine. No, I'm just kidding. He's okay.
Sure.
Yeah, there's no bruise. He's fine. He just probably doesn't want to look at you right now.
He's probably mad at me.
He's fine. Don't worry. My poor boy had a phone dropped on his head. And she's like, is he? I'm like, no, he's fine. He's not even crying at the moment.
In front of like other people. Yeah, you had to say that out loud, didn't you? You just had to?
Didn't my mom ever tell you a story about how she was whipping me around in the kitchen and whack my head off the thing and then drop me because she thought she killed me?
That's alright, because when I was little, my mom told me I rolled right off the bed and I fell 3 feet to the ground.
Yeah,
and I was only a few weeks old.
Oh, well, considering the two of us, maybe there is mental damage. We should have them checked.
Just might be.
They're very durable. It's fine.
If we're the baseline... Oh,
I feel so bad.
He's like, doesn't want you around.
I know, he's so mad at me.
Here, how about you sit here with Daddy and stare at the screen?
Sure he's okay?
He's fine. He's just mad
and
at you.
I was trying to be cute, too. I was taking a picture of the baby. It just slipped. Dunk.
Oh, he's fine. He's just sitting here. He'll sit with Daddy for a bit.
You're sure he's not, like, in a stunned state of...
He might be.
retardation?
He's
I
okay.
don't know.
Exactly. Rodrigo says he's a Nord. He'll be fine. That's right. Hey, Rodrigo, how are you, man? We have someone in chat right now.
We have someone. Hello.
Oh, God, they're going to think I'm a horrible mother.
I wasn't expecting him to actually be on the stream.
Yeah, it's well, we'll get back to talking about the game here. Yeah, it's I like that idea of being able to look at something where a raid night doesn't necessarily mean we're actually going to even see a boss that night. It could literally be just traveling to where we have to go.
Yeah, find your way there. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's things that I'm not comfortable with, like the wagon stuff. I'm like, oh, the prep work, getting it all crafted and ready. I'm not a crafter, you see. But I think, okay, I don't like that aspect, but there's going to be people who love crafting like you do and stuff. And there's people who are going to thrive on the idea of, hey, man, I've got your wagon supplies all sorted. We're all set to go. There will be people who like that. So while I don't enjoy it myself personally, there'll be others who do. And there's a reason why there's 8 people in the group. It's the max size. And the idea is it's not supposed to be, hey, we're going to go to this dungeon. Let's have our elite group of DPS hardcores and let's go. It's like, well, let's see. We've got 5 guys who can do who are real combatants, and then we've got I'm taking my friend here. He's not that great in combat, but he can craft pretty much anything you can imagine, so he'll be able to take care of stuff. This guy here's a great forager, so we'll never have to worry about food. This guy can get through traps and work things out, so when you get in the dungeons and we get ways blocked, they can sort it out. So you don't have to worry about having a group full on like, are you good enough, can you do XY DPS? It's having a group of people who are mixed with talents to be able to get the job done. So you can have 6 people and then 2 spares of just people who are just good to have around, who enjoy playing for another reason. They won't even have any combat skills. You could actually have someone who's just on full on, some crazy guy who's like an absolute plum without people around to help fight things for him. But behind the scenes, you can do everything you could ever imagine to help make sure the party can survive and thrive.
Right. Yeah, no, that is I don't know, it like you said, very niche, but those ideas of things, like, that's why these games were originally out to begin with, right? Like, to give people that idea of adventure that they, like, they can log in. I just came home from my day job, which is sorting in invoice reports, and that just is insanely boring. I wish that I could pick up a sword and a torch and go on an adventure.
Yeah,
adventure
and community. So you're doing it with people and just properly getting involved. And if you don't have time for a long session, then that's fine. You go outside the towns and you fight outside. That's designed for like just 3 people or 4 people, and you can hunt around, kill local bandits or whatever. get yourself supplies that you need so that you're ready for the adventure on the weekend or whatever. You're like, right, well, I need a load of rawhide or something, so I'll go out with this hunting party of either friends I know, or I'll go to the tavern, find a group, and we'll just go kill stuff. And I can get,
Oh,
so you can do stuff to prepare on off nights, as it were, when your friends aren't around, and then when you're all on, it's like, right, let's go tackle this adventure, and off you go. So
yeah.
it's an exciting build-up. It's not just very much, you go and go, right, let's do this dungeon, guys. Click LFG. Oh, I'm in. 15 minutes later, right, we're done. That was great. I'm done for the night. I've done my dungeon. It's a
Well,
proper preparation.
what you just said reminded me of something that I never really thought of before. Giving towns more of a meaning than just being a quest hub. Like, that's what people like when you log on. That's not a quote unquote, raid or game night with your normal friends. Let's just say on Saturdays is the days that all of your friends can set aside 4 hours or whatever to go play. But maybe you're a person who has more time on. Like, I can play for an hour or two a night. You go into town, and instead of towns just being quest hubs, they're literally, you go into town and go to the local tavern and go, hey, let's go out and hunt some bear, because we have a big raid plan for this weekend, and I need to get some bear flank to make into food. I need some hide, things like that. Like, you can go into town. Towns will be where people congregate again.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the taverns are for. You actually have bulletin boards, so you might put up a board saying, Bob and me are looking at 8 o'clock. We're going to be running just outside doing hunting. People come up with camp names, so we're going to hunt the South Hill Orc Camp, and that's where they hang out for the evening. It's like, we're looking for 2 more people, and you can go, oh, okay, and you sort of click on that bulletin, read it, and then you send the message, say, hey, I'm interested in doing that. Or they might be in the tavern itself, and you go, hey, you're looking for an adventure? I'll come along if you like. It's like, oh, great, we've got the team. Take down the bulletin, off they go.
Rodrigo had a good question in chat. He said, earlier I had to leave. You were talking about weather changes. How about seasons? I'd enjoy it if that was in more games. I don't know if seasons would be something that's interesting. I don't know if that's going to be something we'll actively see. But, as games develop, I would love to see something like that as months go by, like where we're in right now. Like, maybe not make it a full year, but make it a 4-month cycle. Like, split a full year, which is 12 months, into, 1 month. January is winter, February is spring, March is summer, April is fall, and then it just repeats. And then you'd essentially have 3 in-game years every year.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, I have no idea if these guys are planning that or not. As I say, if they're planning getting so detailed even with the star alignments, I wouldn't put it past them to have seasons in there, because that would probably play a part in the stars as well. I don't know how it all works, like what you can see, but that's details obviously far down the line, I'd have thought. But I don't think I've heard them mention the idea of seasons or not. But
we should
never know.
Write that down and ask. Maybe get them on the podcast and ask them that one.
Keep that question down. I mean, as I say, all the things obviously we talked about is all at the end of this stage all subject to change, but that's the core idea of what they're planning on playing, as say with the wagons, the caravans, etc. The core vision obviously is the fact that there is no solo adventuring. It's all group stuff, so you've got no choice but to be social. So that's never going to change. Caravans is going to be a system now. They obviously haven't worked out the details of how it's going to work. The basic premise is the caravan means you can get your group together and off you go, and it means if 2 of your mates aren't on for 2 of the nights, but the rest of you are on, you can carry on adventuring, and when they log back in, they are with your caravan still, so you don't leave your friends behind. So the idea of the caravan is to keep your group together once you start an adventure, and you don't have to think, oh, he's not back on till Friday, we can't do anything. You can carry on without him.
Right.
So that's the idea now. They're trying to work out how that works in terms of the quick travel. Like on off nights, no one's on, so you travel back to town. They don't want it to be abused, so they've got to try, because there's no fast travel in the game. So that's the only way you can fast travel. They want to make sure people don't abuse that. So they've got a lot of thoughts to think out the kinks. But all that stuff that we'll end up testing in months to come. Once all that stuff gets put in, we'll be the ones saying this doesn't work, or you've got too long a cooldown. Right. It's not working right, or it's too quick a cooldown. Oh, I've been kicked out. How rude.
Well, I mean, maybe that would be did you get kicked out?
Yeah, did you go?
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I
not.
got kicked out too. So maybe they're well, it is 5. They're taking down the servers. So
That'll be it then. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little preview of the thing, and definitely check out Saga of Lucimia.com. Check it out, and you'll probably hear Asteldian and I talk about this quite a bit more since we are both in the game. So we'll be chatting about it. And since there's no NDA, at least at the start, we will continue to be covering this and doing some stuff like that. So thank you for listening, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks for joining in. And yep, Saga Lucimia is the place to have a little checkout. Go on, throw down $40. You won't miss it. Honest.
Nope.
Right.
Cool.
Well, thanks all. Good night.